There's so many times that we go to film a video, whether it's a training module, a course, or even a workshop presentation, and we forget what to say. And so we go to the next presentation thinking I want a script, I want everything in the right spot, I don't want to miss anything. And so in this video, I'm going to show you ways to prompt yourself, not necessarily with a script, but with exactly what you want to cover, where to position it on the screen so you can still maintain eye contact with the audience or with the camera directly and never lose your place again. We're also going to do a little bit of the creation of those points, how you can use a little bit of AI to help you assist to get you started, and what you may want to work into your presentation to bring this all together. Now, I am here with Fumi, and Fumi, you're an expert on parenting, and it's like all things parenting, right? I mean, it's everything from like little behavior to disciplines to what to do about screen time, what to do about as they become teenagers.
Exactly.
And I have three boys. Oldest is 13, so just got into teenage years. Youngest is 6, and so I'm all over the board. So I'm following your stuff closely because it's I've been to your events. It's something they definitely want to attend. But you're at the point now where you're making a course. I mean, like modules and step by step and covering all these different areas. But talk to me a little bit because you want it to look professional and you want it to come across as something you can run ads to and sell, right?
Exactly. So, when you have the kind of audience that you have, like parents,
Mhm.
and this has to do with day-to-day interaction, challenges of parenting and all that. I want an engaging video and professional video that could be sold anywhere in the globe. Because if you do adverts, you can control where it gets to.
Yep.
You want it very professional, and then you want to infuse probably some video clips that shows maybe living room interaction with parents and children and all that. You want to be engaging, you have a lot of content, and then you want to be able to keep track of what you're saying without losing your audience, without looking away,
Yes.
without cramming things. How do you get all that to come together? So that's a challenge.
Yep. Well, and the benefit that we have today is that you can first pick an environment where you can isolate and you can have your thoughts and you can pull yourself together without having to worry about judgment or distractions. So first thing is to pick a spot. Now for me, I've picked a spot that's in an office, right? So this area used to be just storage. I got a 5-foot desk here, and so I put 3 screens and I'm set to go. Now, that doesn't mean that you could do the same thing from a laptop computer. You can do it from a home office, a basement, corner of a bedroom, kitchen table, wherever you go. Just make sure you can be there at peace, meaning you're not going to get interrupted. You're not going to have all that happen. The next thing I encourage people to do, have at least 2 screens. Now, you happen to see 3 screens here, right? The reason I say at least 2, I want one dedicated to Zoom. So when I'm talking to you, I'm looking over here at you. Now, if this was 100 people, there'd be 40, a screen of 48 here, and I'd have 2 screens. Or if it was 10 people, they'd all be here. But right now it's just one-on-one, so I'm looking over at you to look over here. It's dedicated to Zoom, Teams, or whatever streaming platform you use. If you're not going to be doing it live, like you're just recording a training, then you don't even need this screen or this view. But I would also encourage you to consider when you are filming, even though there may not be an audience there doing it live, have a couple people there anyway. And the reason I'm telling you that, it's so much easier to talk to a person or a small group of people than it is to a camera. I mean, the camera becomes so isolated, so lonely. I mean, they tell you look into the camera like you're looking into someone's eyes. Well, it kind of looks like someone's eye, but it's a little strange. And I get why, right? I understand it. I can do it, but I have to train myself to do it. The other piece that I do when I'm looking at the camera that will help me do this is the actual positioning of the camera. So I'm going to go back for a second and show you from the over the top view. My camera hangs down on my screen about 1/3 from the top. So you see how it comes over the top and hangs down?
Yeah.
Most people put the camera at the top. And what happens then is if you look down at your content, you're really looking down on the camera. But to see my content, I actually look through my camera to see my content. And what you see here on the screen right in front of me, this is just a white Word document. Now, what can we do with a white Word document? Well, if you like having bullet points or a script, I'm going to take you over now to ChatGPT AI, right? I get it. Oh, big bad AI. But I want you to look at this for a second, what we're going to do. I use a program that's an addition to ChatGPT, and it's called AIPRM. And it's a Google, it's a Chrome plugin. I'll probably put the link to that in the description of this video. But what this does, this is like a ChatGPT interpreter. Okay? Meaning like the biggest thing you can do with ChatGPT is prompt it appropriately.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could even tell it, hey, ChatGPT, you're about to write a script for a training module on talking to your 13-year-old about their cell phone and their policies and, when it's time to have a cell phone, when it's not, right? All that stuff.
Yeah.
And you could say, before we do, ask me any questions you may have about the topic. And then you answer the question. You have a conversation first. All that is already built into all of these types of pre-generated prompts that this company, AIPRM, has already done. So I type in here, I just want to search for a script, right? I could search for email template. I mean, whatever I type in here is going to give me eye-catching email for promoting anything, turn your ugly message to a professional one. These are all pre-done prompts. So when I come here and go back to script, I'm going to choose, let me see, there's YouTube, TikTok, code generator, one-click course creator. I'm gonna do that one-click course creator because what I'm looking for, because you said you were doing like templates and stuff. So once I click on it, whoops, where'd it go? Here it is. So I click on it, and now I'm essentially using that in my prompt now. So now when I go to make this prompt for the next thing I want to say, it's going to have all that built in already. And I'm going to take what it wanted me to do, and I'm literally going to be able to generate incredible content with this. Now, it gave me right here the entire script that I needed to generate.
Fantastic.
Now,
fantastic. Yeah.
But here's what I'm going to caution you on. In fact, I'll start a new one, and I'll do it so that we have it here. What I want to caution you on here is that when you take this stuff and you copy it, I want you to put it back into AI and ask it to make a bullet point version. Okay, bullet point version, meaning not something you're going to read. Because see, you can always tell when someone's reading because they're going to look over here a little bit and they're going to be reading, right? And talking to you, and then looking over here and then they're reading. So they're kind of looking at the camera, but not really. Bullet points, I can, out of the peripheral vision, right? The peripheral vision, if I have bullet points on this screen right here, bullet points, I can look at it and be reminded of the next thing I want to say. And yet it still comes from. Now, there are things you can do to put a teleprompter over this camera, and right? I mean, they're available, but you still got to deal with that script. And you're going to have to become really good at reading a script. But to start initially, even above and beyond for me, what a script or bullet points would do, I like using visuals and presentation in terms of PowerPoint, Canva, or Keynote to help me along with my thoughts. So what I'm going to show you here, I have 2 PowerPoints brought up just on my desktop. And, they don't need to be anywhere near this big. In fact, if I was going to do one of these, I may just pick a small section. You see these blue boxes here?
Yeah.
In between these blue boxes is a 1 minute or a 30-second or a 5-minute presentation. A micro presentation or a highlight or a what you're going to learn or why this is important of those sections. Now, down here is the entire presentation. Now, I'm not saying you got to go spend all this time, but look what I can do without having to memorize anything by just taking, I'm going to take just these 2 slides, right? So, again, I normally would want a script. I'm going to start here. I put it into play, and I'm just going to take you through using OBS, using that slide, and I want to show you what it's going to look like. So instead of having to have a script right now, I'm literally going to say, hey, I want to make sure, I don't want to waste anyone's time. This will benefit you if if you're someone who presents online, if you present online, I want you to put a 1 in the chat right now. In fact, if any of these apply to you, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. If you wrote a book, if you sell a product or service, if you consult for companies professionally, if you educate, if you train, or you just have a message to share. So see how that came up as I was speaking it, right? I didn't have to memorize it. In fact, I didn't remember what the last 2 were. I've done this presentation like 70 times and I still didn't remember the last 2, but I didn't have to. Now, I can then tell them, well, and at this point, if this does apply to you, you're going to be able to reach and grow an audience. So I can go right down the list of what they'll be able to do. Does that make sense? In terms of using the PowerPoint and then even showing, and this would be the next reminder. The next reminder is, there's a lot of people out there who are on green screen or they're blurring their background, or worse, they're using a virtual background where they don't have all their fingers or their ears or their shoulders. Using this software, this technique that I'm going to reveal to you, you're going to go from looking like you're hiding out to standing out like a professional online presentation, as if you had an entire, right? So whatever I want, it's all messaged along with the images. There's nothing to remember. And when you're in your mastery, if this wasn't online presentation here, if this was your module on parenting, on that, whether it was talking about the internet, talking about just growing up, talking about becoming an adult, talking about discipline and sharing, whatever it was, you're going to have mastery of that. And all I want to do is have you share that more than I want you to teach, and more than I want you to just regurgitate. I want you to actually speak from your heart on these issues. So give yourself permission that it may never sound the exact same twice. Does that make sense? It may never be the exact script. But that way, having someone there to talk to, I can tell you, how easy it was for me to make this video with you here? It's so much easier to handle your problem, your concern. Find a couple parents that have the issue you want to solve. You and I, we hopped on, we talked for maybe 4 or 5 minutes. You told me what you were looking to do, what you wanted to have, what solution you were looking for. And then you can just solve the problem. So if it's not in here where it's a bunch of slides, maybe it's only 2 or 3 slides, right? Okay. And maybe it's more visual. See, I have all these things here because one of the things I want to talk about was cameras, right? So when I talk about cameras here, I wanted to make sure, and I'll bring this back up now. When I talked about cameras, I wanted to make sure that I had the everything covered that I wanted to cover in cameras. That was the idea. That was the thought. So all I did is I just went out and took a bunch of screenshots of how much cameras actually cost, at least what most people recommend. That's a $2,000 camera. That's an $800 camera. That's a $2,000 lens, $3,000 camera. These things get out of control so fast that I wanted to have something that I could just talk about while I was talking. So the imagery, the visual, just to keep it going with it makes all the difference for you when you're presenting with imagery behind it.
Fantastic.
Now, you have OBS on your computer, so you got a little bit of unfair advantage of anyone watching this who's not a member of mine or hasn't seen this, but we're doing workshops monthly, sometimes weekly, on how to use this. You have it on the computer. You have access to the modules, the trainings, the support. But do you have any questions or anything I can answer in terms of the layout, the structure? Maybe do you see your solution here? How you're going to put this together?
Yeah, it kind of starting to make sense. I'm seeing, with a little more rearrangement of computers, camera, and then the AI thing. I think it's also a very good addition, because if you could have your scripts and you could ask the AI to turn them into bullet points. Yes. You just need to know what next to say, and then the rest should flow. Yep. So maybe there might not be any need to memorize, and then not to miss any point that you want to say, because if you already have those bullet points. So I'm saying that, possibly could be possible. The bit I haven't gotten is it possible to, while speaking about, disagreements between a child and a parent, and I want to pull up a video that's just like a demonstration at the back, and I'm talking about that.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, I think that should also be possible, right?
Oh, excellent, excellent question. Now, you could do it a couple different ways.
Okay.
You could build it in what I call post-edit. So you film the video, right? And then you go to your editing software, whether it's Movavi, Wondershare, Adobe, whatever video editor, and you would put that video in there. You could do that. That'd be probably the more complicated way to do it, the more time-consuming way to do it. But if you knew what video you wanted to place where,
yeah,
all you would have to do then, and in fact, I can even show you in here exactly how these are set up. In here, I would just build a slide that had the video. So if I want to have the video here that talks about, let me find a video that's in position already that I can quickly play. Okay, so here's Joel. This is a slide, right? And and he's going to talk about when he wanted to put this all together, why it was such a pain in the butt, and really no one was prepared to know how to do this before we really took this on.
You know, the gentleman I reached out to, I was paying him $265 an hour, and I described to him what I wanted, and he said, Joel, he says, what you want, you need 2 technicians, minimum, probably 3.
2 technicians, minimum, probably 3. And then I can talk about the video, talk about the result he wanted, which was be able to present online, not like a gamer, not like a streamer, but like a presenter who was closing online. And then I can go through that the Zoom wall, that if you had these in the pandemic or you're doing them now, they're all kinds of technicians, crazy expensive. And then I can play the second piece of the video.
I now do everything he said I couldn't do.
So it speaks now in a little bit of a case study, or a little bit of a capturing how they're feeling, either in the result or in the pain and the challenge. And I just have those built right into slides of the presentation. So it does take an extra maybe 10, 15 minutes. Literally all that I'm doing here and on the desktop, I'm literally just building a slide, and I'll show you exactly how I put this together. When let's say I do a blank slide, a new slide, and I get rid of, these pieces here. I make the background, I use a black background typically. All I have to do is go to insert, and I go to insert, and I could do images, pictures. There's also, let me make it full screen just for a second. Video, this device. And now what I could do, I would go choose a video, any video that's on the computer, and that video is now in my PowerPoint.
Yeah.
It's that simple, right? The video is going to play on that slide. Okay. So for me, this is 3 different cameras. For you, this is an imagery of children fighting or people, kids talking to strangers, or whatever that impact you need to have, you just build into the presentation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. And possibly could you use a Canva?
Oh, same exact way. Yeah, same exact way. Canva's incredible.
Presentation with the videos clips inside there.
Exactly.
And then will you have to download that to now bring to OBS and to do all the setup, or you can link and present, because there's an option to present directly from Canva if you have a slide there without you having to download all those pieces.
So you're using Canva right now in the browser version as in the web browser?
I use Canva as a design tool to create PowerPoint and it has tons of video clips or things that you could, I guess, put into your presentation.
Yep.
And then images and all that. So at the point of connecting it and presenting it with OBS setup and all that, would you have to download them? Or maybe you can link to that directly. I don't know.
Well, here's exactly where I would put it. So I have OBS right here. It's on about 1/3 of my main screen, right? About 1/3 of the screen is OBS. Mm-hmm. My PowerPoint is right next to it. Your Canva would be right next to it. See PowerPoint here? The reason PowerPoint or Canva's here is because I'm looking, here's my camera again. I'm looking through my camera to see through my camera to see my Canva.
Yeah.
Right? So I want it right behind the camera. You could also put it off to the side here. This is a web browser, but then you're going to be looking sideways. Look at it. I want that Canva right in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
The other option you can do is see this little preview window here in OBS, this little preview window. When I'm in the scene, that brings the Canva in, and I can bring it in from this screen, bring it onto this screen. I could then just present and watch this screen. That's fine too. But when I have it right behind the camera, that's going to give me the best eye contact while still being able to see everything I need to see. So that if I didn't have a third screen, that's why I at least want you to have two. So I can have Canva my Canva, Keynote, or PowerPoint, whatever you're using, slides right behind the camera. That's going to help with the eye contact immensely.
Okay. And what's the final output going to look like? Is it going to be my face seen, or sometimes the video or the presentation with my face not on the background? Is it going to be a mix of that?
So couple scenes. This is the normal just talking head, right? And there's nothing, you could do the entire presentation just like this. Most people would. They do the entire presentation. This is when they need a script or a teleprompter, when they don't have any images to guide or prompt them. You could do the whole thing like this. Right behind the cameras where you would have your script and you would just read it, but you're reading from one talking head primary position. The other one that I would do is I would bring the Canva, the Keynote, or the PowerPoint into the screen, and that would just look like this, right? So I would just bring it in so that it looks exactly how I want it to look. Now, I know if I have an audience there and they're willing to be on camera, the audience is right there. If I don't, I could just put a logo there or something else, or it wouldn't matter. But here, now it's like I'm standing on the stage, right? Now it's like I'm presenting to a room where if you were looking at me from the seats, from the audience, you would see my screen, my projector behind me, and then you would see me. So this is just like I'm presenting in front of a large audience. It's the same exact feeling. I'm partly connected to it. I'm on the screen. You can see and hear me, but you can also see the presentation that I need you to see as well, including anything that I want you to have as I walk through. And listen, here's bullet points. I can easily walk through them and go back. I can walk through those bullet points really easy. Yeah. Right? And now I don't want any fine print. I'm not doing things that are like, I don't want people to read slides, but it really helps when you're talking about each one of these. You start talking about the hook, then you talk about the intro, right? So it helps them follow. And I even have a pointer. See the pointer? I can literally just say, we're going to talk about content videos. Cool. You can guide the experience as if you were in person. Sometimes even better than in person, because here, every seat's a front row seat. There's no hiding in the back. And if I have an audience, they're there with me.
Right.
This would be the scene that would set up. And this is in the modules. This is probably the most important thing you can set up, because your audience, your presentation, meaning your flow, and you are all front and center.
Awesome. That's really great.
Makes sense?
That's really cool. Yeah, it does make sense. It does make sense. Love it.
Well, very cool to catch up. Thanks for reaching out. I'll tell you, one of the best things I've ever done is doing these videos. Doing these videos on a consistent basis. And there's weeks I don't feel like making videos, and guess what? I do it anyway. Because people I've connected with, people that are finding me, people will find you. They'll connect with you the exact same way you reached out. You replied to a video email. I don't even know if you watched the video, but you replied to a video email.
I did watch it. It was just 2 minutes plus, so it was cool.
Yeah, 2-3 minutes. This one's a little longer, but you know what? You stay top of mind. You help, you solve problems, and you become very findable as a leader in your space.
Exactly.
So very cool. So if you're watching this and you want to join Fumi in our membership, or you want to maybe just join a challenge, or even get a copy of the book will walk you through all of this as well. All of this is available for you in the description. Like and subscribe this channel. If you want to see more content like this, drop me a note, drop me a comment, and we'll make that happen. Take care. Thank you very much. Fumi, thank you.
Bye.